watch me glow up. Whole room screaming when we go up. Champagne, oh yeah, let it rain like. Drip from the ceiling to the daylight. Say my name, say it, make it feel right. This our time, this our highlight. Passing my palm like a trophy. Gold on my wrist, that's the old me. New year, new flight, same nosebleed. Still from the mud, but I rose clean. Big body dreams in a compact lot.
Bottle pop, truth drop, welcome to the show. Champagne secrets, let your power grow. Every video, spark, ignite your inner light. Raise a glass to the future, shining bright. Empowerment is the code, we decode. Unravel mysteries, life's own secret load. Step by step, tap in, find your flow. With champagne secrets, you're gonna glow.
Unlock the strength within you, watch it bloom. Life's a canvas, painted every room. Through ups and downs, cheers to what's next. Champagne secrets, life's complex. To the show, champagne secrets, let your power grow. Every video, spark, ignite your inner light. Raise a glass to the future, shining bright. Empowerment is the code, we decode. Unravel mysteries, life's own secret load. Step by step, tap in, find your flow. With champagne secrets, you're gonna glow. Unlock the strength within you, watch it bloom. Life's a canvas, painted every room. Through ups and downs, cheers to what's next. Champagne secrets, life's complex.
Second and let's talk. Yo, DJ, roll that beautiful champagne footage.
Confidants? What is your profession? What is your profession? Nothing but soldiers and empowerment over here.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
The butterfly effect is actually so crazy because if I never had a 3 a.m. craving for Taco Bell like 4 years ago, I wouldn't have ordered me up a cheesy gordita crunch, then drive over to the nearest Taco Bell and go through the drive-thru, where in said drive-thru, when I pull up to the window, I lay eyes upon the most beautiful, gorgeous woman I've ever seen in my entire life. And she opens the window and she says, "Your total will be $10.68. And I had absolutely zero game at the time, so I just kind of stared at her like, before I like snap back to reality, and I'm like, oh yeah, and I hand her my debit card, and for some reason I thought I had to tell her that my card didn't have tap and that you had to like use the chip. So after I hand her the card, I'm like, oh, stick it in. And in my head, I'm like, okay, what did I actually just say? I know all my ancestors are looking down upon me in this moment, shaking their heads. But she said, oh, I will. And I'm like, hello. So she hands me my card and I'm like shaking, and she hands me my food and she's like, okay, have a good one. And I drive away and I'm like confused about the vibes of that whole interaction, but it didn't feel like a complete loss to me. So the next week rolls around and I get another craving for Taco Bell. So I head on back to the same drive-thru and I pull up to the mobile ordering lane and I hear a voice say, what's the name on the order? And I just knew it was her. So I pull up to the window and yep, it's her. Just as beautiful as the day I lost her. Now, has my game improved since last week? Dear viewer, I say to you, nay, because the first thing I say was, remember me, I'm the stick it in guy. I knew I fumbled it right then and there, and I thought it was over, but you know what she says? She said, wait, I do remember you. That was so funny. That like made my night last week. And I'm like, what? So I say, well, what's your name? And she says, Sydney, nice to meet you. And I'm like, nice to meet you too. And there's nobody behind, so I kind of chat for like another 20 seconds, and it's chill and everything. The vibes are there, and like it's so vibey. And I'm like, you know what? I'll ask her out next week. Why not? What do I have to lose? So the next week, I don't even have a craving for Taco Bell. I just head over. But when I'm pulling up to the Taco Bell, I see something weird. Like right outside on the sidewalk, I see this guy kind of getting all up in this other guy's face, and I see him like push the other guy, and I'm like, huh, what's happening? And it clicks that I'm witnessing this guy getting robbed outside this Taco Bell. So I'm like, wait, what if I save the guy from getting robbed and then go back into Taco Bell and tell Sydney of my heroics about saving someone from getting mugged? So sure enough, I park my car, get out, I start making my way to the guys, and I'm like, hey! And he looks at me for a sec as he's robbing this guy. I see the guy take out his wallet, and I'm like, what's going on? And the guy like snatches the guy's wallet out of his hands and he starts booking it towards me. Now, I get a good look at this guy. He didn't have a mask on or anything, and that face was like the last thing that I remember, because next thing I know, I wake up on the ground with the worst throbbing pain in my head. I see the guy who just got robbed above me, like checking on me, and I'm like, what? Turns out when he ran towards me, he clocked the frick out of me, just a haymaker clean across my cranium, and I was out like a light. But like the guy didn't even rob me either. He just knocked me out and dipped. Anyways, I didn't actually go to Taco Bell that day. I couldn't let Sydney see me like this, so I go home and I kind of just ruminate on what happened for a couple weeks. My confidence is low and I just feel so weak and worthless. So I'm like, you know what? I'll join a boxing gym. You feel? So the next day I find a local gym and I have a meeting with the coach. I tell him I want to like improve my confidence, get stronger, not feel like a bum, and we get to training. And I go in like every day to every other day. I'm training hard, and I go there for like 3 or 4 years. And after a while, coach says he's starting to like see some talent, and he recommends I do some local exhibition matches, some low stakes fights for young people to try to get their name out there, mostly recreation, but could lead somewhere in the future. And I'm like, okay, why not? So I get out and I start doing some of these fights, and I actually do pretty well. I'm winning by like a hair's breadth. Like it could go either way in a lot of these, but I'm winning. And I'm doing a lot of these small matches for like maybe 6, maybe 7 months. And coach says, hey, let's up the stakes. This next fight I got lined up for you, small $100 cash prize. And I'm like, well, I got nothing to lose. So I'm like, okay, let's do this. So next week's fight rolls around. They had like a couple of fights before leading up to us as like the main event. And I see my opponent for the first time when I step into the ring. And when I see my opponent's face, time stops. It's a face that's been ingrained into my brain for years, a face that I see in every opponent, in every punching bag, and every time I close my eyes. The same one that knocked me out outside at Taco Bell. I say to myself, ain't no way, bro. But I'm like, all right, lock the frick in. But then something happens completely unexpected. Something that genuinely made me jump. I hear a girl in the crowd say, get him, babe. And that's when time actually stops. I look out and I see her. Sydney, my beloved Taco Bell cashier, and she's not saying get him, babe, to me. No, but to the devil across the ring from me. But before I know it, we touch gloves and the bell rings and he's on me. I'm on defense, not focused, not locked in, and he's wailing on me. I can't do anything. I feel like I'm the same kid on the sidewalk all those years ago, weak, powerless, not able to save anyone, not even myself. Then I hear the bell, ding, 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 round one's over. I didn't throw maybe more than like 3 punches. And I go back to the corner. Coach comes up to me and he's like, hey kid, what's going on? What's going on? And I literally start to tear up. I'm like, it's him, coach, it's him. He's the one who, way back. And my coach, I had already told him about what happened at Taco Bell way back when I started. And he grabs my shoulders and he says, son, show him the monster that he created. And then in that moment, something within me just snapped. Suddenly I wasn't little kid on the sidewalk anymore. I was retribution. I was justice. I was vengeance. Ding, 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 round 2 starts. My eyes lock on him. Everything becomes clear. He tries to rush in again, thinking he's in for a repeat of round 1. He starts closing the distance, and he starts by throwing a haymaker, the same one that knocked me out all those years ago. Then, instinctual, my body moves on its own. I glide underneath his punch, then I counter, delivering a devastating uppercut right to his jaw. His head reels back, and he stumbles backwards. I look into his eyes, and I see fear in them. It sends pure ecstasy coursing through every inch of my body. I close the distance and throw a jab, then a hook, then another couple jabs. He tries to dodge, but I see through his movements. Each one of my punches makes contact, and he starts to stumble. I see his eyes close slightly, and I decide, let's finish this. I throw a haymaker, the same one he used on me, and I make clean contact with his cranium. He immediately slumps over and falls. The audience cheers. The ref counts 1, 2, 3, and before you know it, he says 10. Dan wins by knockout. The crowd goes crazy. It was all like a blur after that. I got my $100 and I leave the venue. But as I'm leaving, I see Sydney walking out alone. I run up to her. I'm like, Sydney? She turns around and I run up to her and I'm like, Sydney, hi. I don't know if you remember me. And then she says, oh, I'm not Sydney. Sorry. And I'm like, huh? And she says, that's my twin sister. Yeah, she got married last year. Isn't that exciting? Anyways, good job on that fight, even though you knocked out my boyfriend. And I'm like, oh, word, thanks. And then she says, want a mint? And hands me some wintergreen flavored icebreakers. And I ended up kind of really liking them. So, yeah, if I never had that Taco Bell craving all those years ago, I wouldn't have known how much I just love icebreakers. So now I actually keep wintergreen icebreakers in my car at all times.
Interesting, baby. The people got some story times, huh? Progressive said, what you won't do for love, honey. Every night I gotta fight to prove my love, because how did a trip to Taco Bell for chalupas end up in a heavyweight match, ring, bout, whatever you want to call it, for you trying to prove your love? Baby, bye. No, ain't no way. It shouldn't be no pecker, putty tat, or nothing in between good enough to make you want to jump in a ring for somebody you don't even know. Put your life on the line with strangers just for $100 so you can have bragging rights. Ain't no way. But to each his own, baby. If that's what you want to do to get yours, do you, boo-boo. Do you. Choose your struggle, though. Because you always have freedom of choice. But that thing could have went all the way left. You jumping your tail in a ring just because. Baby, bye. Are y'all ready for the show? Champagne Gang, Fizz Fam, confidants, and visitors to the Champagne City. Welcome in. Come one, come all. Bubble to bubble, court to court, come on in. If this is your first time here, hi, I'm the Empress, and you are joining me for grown discussions and bubbly banter. Baby, over here, we get classy with a twist, huh? A little clink with chaos with a side of charm. So if you're ready to sip, savor, and spill, baby, grab one of those glasses of bubbly, you know, your favorite one, the one that you slip late at night when you want to relax. Yeah, grab that one. Make sure you have something nice and comfy on. Grab your charger, because we don't need your phone dying in the middle of the show. Please do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. Hype up the video. Consider joining the Champagne Gang and the Fizz Fam. Become one of us. Now, without further ado, let's get into the show. But you know, first, we got to get into our positivity and affirmations. So please grab a glass of bubbly. I don't care if it's sparkling water. Get something in your hand. And if not in your hand, baby, get it in your imagination and hold it high. It's time for our positivity and affirmations. So y'all listen, I felt like it's only right that we just stay right where we were, because that last huddle up pep talk that we had, baby, that did something for me. So we gonna run it back, all right? You ready? Drop some champagne glasses in the chat if you are ready. Let's go. Champagne Gang, come in close. This is that quiet moment before the stadium roars. Yeah. The lights aren't blinding yet. The crowd hasn't stood up, but you can feel it in your chest, the knowing. The kind that tells you this isn't just another year. This, baby, this one matters. This one matters. We didn't wander into this moment, baby. We earned it. Every late night, every restart, every time we kept moving while the world assumed we sit down. This is where it led. Now, I need you to listen to me. This year isn't about proving anything to anyone who is outside your circle. It's about honoring the work you've already put in and deciding right now how seriously you're going to take what comes next. We're standing at the beginning of a yes, but not empty-handed. No, we come carrying wisdom. We come carrying scars that taught us strategy. We come carrying calm confidence that only shows up after you survive what was supposed to stop you. This is rise, Sally, rise, but not in panic, not in a sprint. This is the steady rise of someone who knows the ground they're standing on won't collapse beneath them. This is wipe your weeping eyes because you've already cried enough tears to water the roots. This is put your hand on your hip, let your backbone slip into place, and remember who you were before the world tried to convince you you were behind. This isn't scrambling to your feet. This is a composed stand. The kind that comes from knowing you survived the fall and learned the layout of the land on the way down. I want you to feel the weight of this moment, not as pressure, but as responsibility. Responsibility to your vision, responsibility to your future self, responsibility to the people watching you quietly taking notes on how it's done. This is the year that we move with intention. We speak clearly. We choose deliberately. We stop caring what can't keep pace with where we're going. There will be noise. There always is. But champions don't play to the noise. They play to the plan. So take a breath with me. Settle your shoulders. Lock your eyes with the version of yourself that's already on the other side of the year and nod. That version is waiting on you to keep your word. When we step out of this huddle, we step out different. Not louder, steadier. Not rushed, ready. Not hoping, expecting. The fire is lit. The team is set. And when the whistle blows, we don't hesitate. We execute. Now, I need you to take that glass and raise it high in the air if you agree with me, because it's time to go and take the field. Let's toast. Ladies and gentlemen, confidants, welcome to the Hennessy Zone. Straight talk, no chaser. This place was created for those topics that require, well, a little something stronger than just champagne. Over here, we think and drink responsibly. Now, let me give you a disclaimer. Everything discussed in the Hennessy Zone, all of the commentary is based on my opinion, and it's done so in accordance with the Fair Use Act, which allows for these discussions for the purpose of entertainment and teaching, because there's wisdom to be gained from everything, whether it's good or bad. Now, we don't attempt to solve cases over here, but we do discuss them. And I love to hear your opinions about each of the cases we discuss. So please do me a favor and drop in the comments and let me know what you think about today's case. Come on in. Once again, thank you for joining me in the Champagne City on today. And we have a story for you on today. I ran across this story on social media, and I do briefly remember hearing about this story when it actually happened, but I didn't go into full detail or a deep dive to what was going on until recently. Some things have taken place, and it made me go do a deep dive into this story, and I felt it was only right that I share it with you guys. But before we go there, I do want to finish off a story that we covered the other day when we were live. Hold on. This was the story that had to do with the fake UPS drivers. So I wanted to show you the criminal complaint that was against the main aggressor, the one that we saw in the doorbell camera. So this says State of Minnesota, County of Anoka, against Alonzo Pierre Mingo. That is his name. It says charges, red rum in the second degree with intent, not premeditated. Now, this is where I get a little confused on charges, because exactly how can you label any of this as not premeditated? Everything that was done from the moment they decided to put on those UPS uniforms and show up at someone's house, baby, was premeditated. At the point where you put on a uniform, you got into a vehicle that we found out was rented by your baby mom. You got into that vehicle, you went to this house and unalived 3 individuals, 3 of you to be exact. You even had a makeshift box to look like a package, even though you didn't have a delivery truck. But, tomato, tomato. We're not dealing with that right now. But you went all the way over to this house. This was planned. The 3 of you, if not more. How exactly do we get a second degree charge that says not premeditated? Everything about this was premeditated, and they need to hang for it. They need to hang for it. And before, the ghost slips away, they need to pull them down and take them to another form and start all over again. And before it slips away again, they need to take them to another form. There is no excuse whatsoever that can be given for this level of foolishness that was done in front of these babies. None. No excuse. There's nothing that can be said to justify what they did to these children. So I want to scroll down. So it says on January 26th, it was determined that he caused the unaliving of a human being with intent to effect the death of that person or another, but without premeditation. And at the time of offense, the defendant or an accomplice did use or possess a firearm, to wit, a handgun. So basically what they're trying to say is, even though these crimes happened, at least a portion of the crime was not premeditated. So basically we went in there to get the money, but we didn't plan on taking anybody's life. Well, that doesn't make sense, because if you didn't plan on taking anyone's life, then you wouldn't have done it. The simple fact that you did it after you didn't get any money makes all of this premeditated. You knew what you were going to do when you went there because your face was showing, dummy. So, January 26, approximately 12:24, the police were dispatched after receiving an emergency call to the residence. The 911 call captured a female in the background of a possible domestic situation. Now, when they originally got the 911 call, they thought it was just a domestic. Remember, she did not have the opportunity to let them know everything that was going on at the house, right? When the officers arrived, they found a deceased male in the doorway of the residence with at least one apparent wound to the head, a broken firearm magazine, and several loose rounds of ammunition were also observed near him. Upon further entry, the second adult male with an apparent gunshot wound to the head was found in an office area. A deceased adult female with an apparent gunshot wound to the head was found in the bedroom. Remember, that was done in front of the babies. 2 small children, both under the age of 5, were also present. Officers observed several surveillance cameras mounted throughout the house, including a wireless camera near the deceased female. No firearms were located inside the residence, which is crazy, because if you're doing this level of dirty work, you're not protecting yourself. This is why I keep saying I don't understand this level of new age criminal. I would think if you are going to be involved in, I don't know, the cartel, maybe you should have about 6, 7 pit bulls to cane corsos, well trained. You should have some people watching out on every block, every corner, so that you know what is moving in and out of your neighborhood, so that you can make sure that you and your family is safe. I don't understand how they are recruiting for criminal organizations when your house wasn't better protected than this. And you moving weight and gotta send payments back to Mexico. The 3 suspects exit the vehicle, 2 of them wearing outfits that are similar, it says, to UPS delivery driver uniforms, and they entered the house. One of the males is carrying a cardboard box as if he's delivering a package. Approximately 12:28, they all exit the residence and leave in the same vehicle. The registered owner of the vehicle is Alonzo Pierre Mingo. It gives his date of birth and that he's the defendant. The surveillance audio and video was obtained from the bedroom camera. It captures the adult female along with both children inside. It captures Mingo entering the bedroom wearing a UPS uniform, along with the male who appears to be one of the later deceased males. The defendant is holding both the male and female at gunpoint and demanding money. The defendant and the 2 adults leave the bedroom. The children follow. The video captures the defendant and the female returning to the bedroom where he icky her in the head at point blank range near the entryway. The older child can be seen entering the bedroom shortly thereafter, crying hysterically. Another subsequent vehicle shows the younger child entering the bedroom to check on the female until the older child pulls the younger child away from the deceased female's body and out of the room. So shortly after that is when law enforcement responds to the address, and there's an alert was issued on the defendant's vehicle. He was observed leaving his residence on January 26, 3:14 p.m. and driving away the same vehicle captured on a pole camera. The vehicle was stopped by law enforcement 5 minutes later at 73rd Avenue near Baker Road Northeast in Freely, Anoka County, Minnesota. The defendant was arrested and his vehicle was towed. Law enforcement later learned that he threw his cell phone out the window while he was being pulled over. The cell phone was located and collected. So, in a post-Miranda statement, defendant Mingo told defendant that he had never worked at UPS and did not own a cell phone and had been in his residence all day. A subsequent search of his vehicle revealed a backpack. Inside the backpack, detectives located UPS delivery uniform tops and a UPS vest. The cell phone defendant Mingo threw from his vehicle had been turned off on January 26 at 10 a.m. until 12:39 p.m. of the same day. Just dumb. Law enforcement conducted further interviews and learned that defendant Mingo had been employed by UPS until early January 2024. Witnesses reported that on January 26, 2024, Mingo left his residence at approximately 10 a.m. Defendant Mingo's vehicle was noted to have a Mr. Car Wash barcode on the front windshield. Records from Mr. Car Wash revealed on January 26 at 2:40 p.m. Defendant Mingo's account was used at the Mr. Car Wash on County Road 82 and Snelling Avenue in the city of Roseville, Minnesota. Surveillance video was reviewed and showed the defendant's vehicle going through the car wash on that date and time. Fingerprints were located on the cardboard box carried into the home and left at the residence. Their analysis at the Midwest Regional Forensic Laboratory and confirmed to match defendant Mingo. Now, you do know that there was an appeal filed, and he appealed all this and said it was all incorrect. He wasn't there. No way his fingerprints could be there. Just dumb. These new age criminals are just so smart, they dumb. Your DNA is everywhere. You took the mask you had on and you discarded it in the trash. Your DNA is all over the mask, dummy. You sweat. You have dead skin particles that come off. DNA on the mask. Then you didn't wear any gloves, so your DNA, your fingerprints are all over the boxes, dummy. Then at least one of you didn't wear a face mask. So if they tracked your phone because of your face, so they know who you are, and they saw that you were connected with two individuals before this happened, I mean 2 + 2. Smarty pants. Sad. Whole family not here and 2 babies are left to figure out why. One child probably gonna be messed up for the rest of his life. But I wanted y'all to hear the actual complaint that they had against them. This is the full summons and complaint from the arrest and the fact sheet from the Minnesota Judicial Branch regarding Mingo. I did want to bring that to you guys' attention. Also, hold on, do I still have it? Hold on. Might have deleted it by accident, but let me see. And put a 1 in the chat if you can hear the music. Put a 2 in the chat if you cannot hear the music. I wanted to show you guys this because this really shows how twisted we are as a culture. So this is a social media post. Now, this is one of the brothers that was arrested. So someone made a post, and in the post they turn around and say, it's free you, F what they saying. So we wonder why stuff like this either doesn't get solved or it keeps happening. Do you know why? Because when it happens, we jump on social media with free him till it's backwards. Let them out. Free him. Free my boy. Free my boy. They done slaughtered a whole household, but it's free them. F what they saying. You don't care. No accountability, but y'all ready for a revolution? Are you sure? Are these the individuals you gonna revolutionize with? Y'all want to isolate and separate from everybody. These are the people that you gonna have in your isolation and separation. Are you sure you want to isolate and separate? We ain't figured out how to get this under control yet. They laid down a whole household in front of kids. Do you think anything is off limits? And this is the one for this brother. But it doesn't stop there. Give me 1 second. Doesn't stop there. Let me pull the other one. Because this is the stuff that we do. And we wonder why we don't be taken seriously. This is the other one. Free my brother. They going turn they back on you, not me, brother. It's okay. Let your brother know he wrong. It's not okay to just say F him. Now, at the end of the day, what I tell y'all, 2 things can be right at the same time. Because what do? Cases like this makes me wonder, as a family, how does the family feel? Now, I'm not talking about the parents, because the parents need to answer for this. Like, they need to come out and say something, because there's 2 of your children, not just one. It's 2 sons was involved in this. That's 2 individuals that you birthed. So sick and twisted and demented that they thought this was a smart idea. And nothing told them when they saw those 2 babies in the house, you know what? Abort mission. Maybe we shouldn't do this in front of the children. But, the women don't care about their children. So why do we expect the men to? But 2 things can be right at the same time. Because do you abandon your family member when they do some trash like this? Or do you stick by their side and try to help them figure out where they were wrong? That's the question to ask. What do you do when it's your loved one? Not the one on the other end of being the victim. What do you do when your loved one is the perpetrator? Do you stand behind them or do you walk away? Drop in the comments and let me know. Now, let's get into today's show. Thank you. Come on in, come on in, come on in. Please make sure you do me a favor and hit that like. And subscribe button. Y'all love that little subscribe animation. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe button. Come on in. Now, y'all listen. I ran across this story, like I said, on social media of this school shooting. It was actually a church/school shooting. And when it happened, I remember hearing like, you know what? That's just sick. Why would anybody do anything? I'm just so sick of hearing about all these school shootings, right? Recently, the story has kicked up again because the suspects' manifesto and diaries have been released by the police. I thought it was interesting because I have not seen such a detailed manifesto or diary be released to the public of someone who decided to do something like this. We hear about it, but we never see it. So I want to take the time to get into this. But before we do, right? This story made me think of something. Now, one of my favorite shows that I love to watch is Criminal Minds. And when Criminal Minds first came out, baby, I was obsessed from season 1, episode 1. Now, I kind of fell off after Hotch got terminated and he was no longer on the show. So I can't really tell you much about what happened after Hotch left. But Criminal Minds was my show. But here's why. Criminal Minds was my show because it deals with the psychology of a thing. It deals with the mind. See, I'm a mind person. I like watching the body cam shows and the detective shows because I want to understand what makes a person tick. What makes a person want to do this? What was going on in your mind to make you do this? Do you know why? Because when you start paying attention to what's going on in the mind of the people that's in front of you, that they are showcasing, it'll start making you pay attention to what's on the mind of other people. And you'll start paying attention to and recognizing toxic traits and danger before toxic traits become toxic and danger becomes dangerous. So I loved watching Criminal Minds. And when I thought about this story, when I was doing my research, I said, this makes me think of something in Criminal Minds. So I'm going to show you where my mind went. When it comes to Criminal Minds, right, there's something that they always talk about. They talk about different types of extreme aggressors. Individuals who take aggression to the extreme. You know, you hurt them, they don't just want to fight. They want mass destruction because you hurt their feelings. Extreme aggressors, like a lot of y'all deal with them. They don't know how to control their emotions. So everything is to the extreme. It's either one extreme or the other. There's never a happy medium or a meet in the middle, right? So I want you to just journey with me for a second. Just indulge me. So, one of the things that it took me back to was this episode of Criminal Minds. And this episode was in season 4. It was episode 16. It was called Pleasure is My Business, right? And it discussed a mission-oriented killer. Now, I want you to keep that in mind as we discuss this. If you are a fan of Criminal Minds, you know they put extreme aggressors into categories. This is important. I need you to pay attention. We're going somewhere. There is the power control killer. Now, what does that mean? That's someone who unalives to dominate. Life and death are proof of supremacy. The act itself is the reward for them. It's often methodical. It's organized. It can blend into society. Real life examples of a power control unaliver. Ted Bundy. It was about power. It was about control. They didn't want anyone strong. It was about exerting dominance and seeing someone suffer. Another one was Dennis Rader. That's the BTK killer, the bind, torture, kill. That was that killer who was the family man. He got over on power and control. The excitement for them comes from knowing that they have the ultimate power and control over whether or not you live or die, right? Some other classifications: the predatory, stalking aggressor. What is that? They're patient, they're calculated, they're extreme premeditation. They stalk, they manipulate their victims before acting. They're the ones that play like the cat and mouse game. They not just gonna come and get you. They gonna play with you and make you scared. They gonna make you slip up. They're the ones that's gonna have you watching over your back everywhere that you go because you feel like they got the low on you. Right? Another would be a Ted Bundy. He stalked women over weeks before the abduction. He wanted to learn their ways. He wanted to learn how they acted. He wanted to learn behaviors. When is the best time to attack? That's why y'all got to start being real careful by your patterns and what you do. Not only what you do, but what you continue to let everybody else know that you do. Then there's the spree or the mass killers. These are the ones that do like the country music, want a mass casualty effect. You just woke up one morning and chose violence. It's extreme aggression over short periods, multiple victims, rapid succession, can overlap with other typologies. Real life examples: Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold of Columbine. Spree violence, ideological, thrill elements, but they could also fit into other categories as well. Then you have the angel of death. These are the medical unalivers. These are the individuals who are in the medical field and they are comfortable taking the lives of the ones that they are supposed to protect. Somehow it gives them like a God complex to be able to choose when a helpless individual lives or dies. Then you have the hero or homicide. So they seek attention or power by creating chaos, then saving people. There have been stories of this taking place in hospitals as well, where you'll have a nurse or a doctor that has the type of complex where they will do something to induce death or induce close to death and attempt to save the person. And when they save the person, it gives them some sort of hero complex or some sort of God complex to feel like they're fulfilling some kind of purpose. Then you have the long distance ones. They don't want to be up close. These are people who are like snipers, right? These are important. I need you to stay with me. You got sadistic and ritualistic killers, right? What does this mean? They kill for domination, torture, or ritual. Extreme aggression is methodical, symbolic, and psychological. Real-time examples: Albert Fish, extreme sadism, ritualistic, and psychological torment. Ed Gein, body desecration and rituals, dominated victims even after death. These are individuals that just want to torture and cause pain. Ultimate pain and torture. They get off on it and they are excited. They want to dominate. They want to torture. If there's no torture involved, they cannot get excited. They get off on the torture. A lot of these killers, they do not have sexual gratification in the way normal people have sexual gratification. They can only get sexual stimulation and gratification when they are exacting these deeds. This is how they get off. This is how they get excited. This is how they have an orgasm. Then you have the visionary killer. They're driven by psychosis, by delusions or voices, violence. They react to a fractured internal reality. Extreme aggression can be sudden and chaotic. Real life examples: David Berkowitz, son of Sam, believed in supernatural commands, killed according to voices. They hear things that tell them what to do. Andrea Yates unalived her children under the delusion that she was saving them. Hearing voices. These are visionaries. They have visions. The voices give them visions and tell them what to do. A lot of times it's a means to an end. If you do this, then there's going to be this outcome. Like somehow they're saving the world in what they're doing. Then you have the hedonistic unliver. This is the person who does it for personal pleasure, thrill, sexual gratification, or material gain. Some subtypes are lust, thrill, comfort. Extreme aggression shows up as stalking, escalation, or sadistic patterns. Real life examples: again, Gary Ridgway, the Green River Killer. He was a lust killer. He targeted women for sexual gratification, methodical but personally motivated. John Wayne Gacy, he was a lust and a thrill killer, sadistic undertones, killed for gratification and maintained normal facade. Another one would be Jeffrey Dahmer, killed for gratification, for lust. These the kind of people y'all got associated with y'all, walking around y'all every day, and half of y'all don't even know because you don't have your eyes open. You ain't paying attention. You're not paying attention to behaviors and patterns and actions. Then we have the one that we're going to discuss today. The mission-oriented killers. These are the ones who believe that certain people or groups must be eliminated. They are self-appointed crusaders. Real life examples would be Joseph Paul Franklin, who unalived for racist ideology and reasons, targeting specific groups. Richard Speck, arguably mission adjacent. He targeted a particular type of victim with intent to purge. These kind of individuals, they unalive or they plan unalivings because they feel like they are on a mission and they have a point to prove. That brings us back to the episode that I was telling you about. So in this episode, right? This is season 4, episode 16. This episode was called Pleasure is My Business. This woman was a mission-oriented unaliver. So in this case, wealthy married businessmen were found unalived in luxury hotel rooms after apparent heart attacks. What it was made to look like. Now, I need you to remember that also, right? when we get ready to discuss this case, because there's a difference in the way when women snap and lose it, in the way women enact or carry out what they want to do, and in the way men react and carry out what they want to do. It's going to be important when we get into this story. I need you to follow me. So, they were found unalive in hotel rooms, and it was due to apparent heart attacks. Their autopsies revealed they were poisoned with tetrodotoxin, a rare pufferfish toxin that paralyzes victims while leaving them fully conscious as they suffocate, right? The unsub, her name in the show is Megan Kane. She's sophisticated. She's a high-priced call girl. She seduces her targets. She sleeps with them as a part of a paid encounter. Then she administers the poison to them. But she only targets a specific type of man. They have to be powerful. They have to be rich executives who routinely cheat on their wives and abandon or emotionally destroy their families. She leaves their bodies posed peacefully in bed, staging the deaths to look natural. So her backstory: Megan's own father was a serial cheater who had long-term affairs with an escort and divorced her mother, cut all of them off financially, and emotionally abandoned Megan and her mom, leaving her in poverty. When Megan learned that her father, who was dying from natural causes, it began to cause her to snap and flip, and she began to displace her rage that she felt toward her father, that she couldn't enact on her father because he's now dying. She took that and she started exacting it on different men who mirrored his behavior. So the episode ends with a whole emotional confrontation between Hotch and Megan's father, who refuses to acknowledge the harm that he caused. Now, this is extremely important. The harm that he caused. I need you to remember this. Hotch has a conversation with her father. She is a monster. She is unaliving individuals, but she's doing it on a twisted mission. Because somehow in her mind, she feels like she has to make these men pay for how they are hurting their family. This would also be referred to as a vigilante type individual, a vigilante type personality. You feel like you have a cause. That's going to be important. So, why do I see her as a mission-oriented unaliver? Well, here's how. For a mission-oriented, the core motivation, they believe they have the right to the mission to rid the world of a specific group that they deem immoral, undesirable, or harmful to society. They fear morally justified in their behavior. Let's say it like that. Megan, in her case, she explicitly sees herself delivering justice to wealthy, cheating husbands who destroyed their families the way her father destroyed her family. She views men as a type that deserves punishment. Right? Her victim selection, highly specific victimology. She targets chosen individuals. It's not haphazard. It's not sporadic. She has specific individuals she goes after. Only old, only rich, only married executives who use high-end escorts. So she's only going after cheaters. All other clientele, she rejects them. Now, what's her justification, right? She has a strong internal rationalization that society is far better off without these individuals, like I told you, vigilante-like. She also believes she is a protector of wives and children. And she feels like this is her cause and this is her purpose because of all the pain that her and her mother had to endure because her father did it to her. So now she wasn't a chaotic, impulsive unaliver. She was organized and methodical with what she did. She was highly organized and she planned it out. She uses untraceable exotic poison. The deaths are sudden. They look like natural heart attacks. She maintains a successful professional facade and she selects her victims carefully. So this in itself is extremely well planned. Why is this important, right? This is important because today we have this story of this individual by the name of Audrey Hale. Now, the individual that caused the devastation at the school, this individual has caused a lot of debate and a lot of conversation because Audrey Elizabeth Hale is transgender. Hold on one second. Audrey. Oh yeah, that's why I had it. Let me come back here. There we go. Audrey is transgender. Audrey was born male, living life as a female. Why is that important? Because when I first heard this story and I heard that a woman was the mass shooter, I was confused. The reason why I was confused is because that is not the typology of women. This is the danger that we run into when we have these identity wars and identification wars, because there are certain things that are not indigenous, should I say, to women. Women are not school shooters. Women are not going to grab a gun and go unalive a bunch of people. When we were discussing the story from Criminal Minds, the reason why I picked that specific episode is because it showed a typology. When she wanted to get rid of those high-powered men, she grabbed poison. Women are a lot more methodical than that, because our thought process is how not to get caught and how to make it most effective. Women are going to use things like poison. Majority of the time when you see a woman trying to get rid of her husband, it's generally not a sticky, icky, and it's not a knife. You're going to see cyanide. You're going to see antifreeze. You're going to see all kinds of stuff that could cause you to be unalived and it would be undetectable. So this situation here sparked a whole conversation because Trump wanted to come out and make this a whole problem with transgender individuals. No, this is not a transgender situation. This is not a transgender problem. This is a male problem, because at the core, he is still a man. No matter how you flip it, no matter how you change it, he's still a man. And in the moment of an emotional breakdown, you saw that he's still a man by the action he chose to choose and the way he chose to do it. Now, that being said, there is a greater story that needs to be discussed here. Greater. So let's talk about who this individual is and exactly what happened. So this is the article on what happened. So, police released video showing Nashville shooter breaking into the school. Police released surveillance video Monday night, hours after a former student who shot through the doors of a Christian elementary school in Nashville and unalived 3 children and 3 adults. The shooter was fatally shot by the police at Covenant School in the city's Green Hill neighborhood, authorities stated. Police released approximately 2 minutes of edited video showing the shooter's car driving up to the school from multiple angles, including one in which children can be seen playing in swings in the background. Next, an interior view shows glass doors to the school being shot out and the shooter ducking through one of the shattered doors. More footage from inside shows the shooter roaming through the halls of the school corridor, holding a gun with a long barrel and walking into a room labeled church office, then coming back out. In the final part of the footage, the shooter can be seen walking down a long corridor with the gun drawn. The shooter is not seen interacting with anyone in the video, which has no sound. Authorities have identified the victims, 9-year-old Evelyn Dykehouse, Hallie Scruggs, and William Kinney, 61-year-old Cynthia Peak, 60-year-old Catherine Kuntz, and 61-year-old Michael Hill. All 3 adults worked at the school. Police identified the shooter, Audrey Hale, 28-year-old from Nashville, who officials said was armed with at least 2 assault weapons and a handgun. The news is attempting to confirm Hale's gender identity. Nashville Police Chief Drake said preliminary investigation indicated the shooting was targeted. We have a manifesto, we have some writings that we're going over that pertain to this date, the actual incident, he told reporters. We have a map drawn out of how this all was going to take place. Police also released an image of the car the shooter allegedly drove to the school. There's a picture of the car from a post seen on Twitter. Now I want us to take a look at this body cam. Now there is no audio on this body cam, but I want us to see what they were discussing in the article. So here you can see the car pulling up. Different angles. Here's my question, y'all. I thought it was like so it wasn't like mandatory. Where's security is what I'm asking. I mean, in 2025, we still don't have security in these schools. Still, babies still not protected in the schools. Because why wasn't there someone monitoring a camera of what's going on outside the school and around the building so that you can see if someone is approaching the building? Come on, these governments got money. You trying to tell me that you don't have enough money to make sure these schools are secure? Some off-duty police officers, retired officers, something. We're not taking this seriously yet. That's when the doors were shot out. As you can see, just marching through the halls. This is full tactical gear. This is very unladylike. It's all I want to say. It's very, very unladylike behavior. And at this point, my next question is, so nobody heard the doors getting shut out? No one? No one. Shouldn't there have been someone like up front to be able to see who's coming through the front door? So people can't just freely roam through the halls and through the office and the church and everything without notice. There was no eyes nowhere in this building watching anything. And you keep wondering how the enemy keeps slipping in unaware because somebody not watching. There should always be somebody watching when you got babies. You got somebody else's children in your care. Somebody should be watching every door of this building nonstop. See him walk back through. And I don't, okay. She goes through the back, and I think this. All this walking, and no one has seen anything. No, a gun, nothing. Just no security. So, that is the body cam of Audrey entering the building. Now I want to play for you a video of one of Audrey's former teammates and classmates saying that they spoke with Audrey before this happened. Now I need y'all to remember that this is all adding up to something. Remember, mission-oriented killer. And what we gave you the definition of what a mission-oriented killer is and why they kill, what their purpose is, and why they are labeled as mission-oriented.
Now know the shooter drove into the parking lot of Covenant School around 9:53 Monday morning. 4 minutes later, a former middle school teammate received messages from Hale about wanting to die. She tried her best to help and only later learned what happened. News Channel 5's Kelsey Gibbs spoke to the former teammate, who says she's still wrapping her mind around all of this.
I called my daddy and was screaming on the phone. It was her, it was her, it was her.
Ariana Patton still can't believe she was one of the last people to have some contact to the Covenant School shooter. The two played basketball together at IT Cresswell Middle School years ago.
I am trying to wrap my mind around it all.
At 9:57 Monday morning, Patton says she looked at her phone to find Instagram messages from Audrey Hale planning to die by suicide, and she'll learn more information from the news.
And my initial reaction to it was responding with a coping mechanism like, Audrey, you have so much to live for, like, you know, I pray God is keeping and covering you right now.
Patton says with the advice from her father, she called the suicide hotline, followed by the sheriff's department and the police department, all within 20 minutes from receiving the messages. But without Hale's location, there was not much more to do.
I had no clue it was her, and I had no clue. We knew it was a shooting, you know, but I didn't know that message was tied to the actual physical, what happened, the tragedy.
Patton says she knows she did all she could to help, but still struggles.
I'm trying to make God help me wrap my mind around what is this, God?
Patton says she just hopes this is a warning to others.
My message to you guys will be to say something. I don't care how minimal or how big or how you personally feel about it. If you have a physical something of someone saying, I need help, I'm about to harm myself, say something.
In Nashville, Kelsey Gibbs, News Channel 5.
Good advice.
So that was the friend, former teammate, classmate of Audrey Hale, who came out to let everyone know what she experienced and the conversation that was had right before this happened. And exactly, we need to start paying more attention. And we gonna get on the parents. You know we are. We definitely gonna deal with the parents on this. I'm not saying the parents are responsible for what their child decided to do. This is a 28-year-old individual. What I'm saying is, parent, you should have known something was going on with your child. How do you not know that your child's been in torment since they were a child? How do you not know that this has been festering? Do you know how we were having a discussion about Cadenhead when it came to 764? And the fact that parents are leaving their children to their own devices and leaving their children to try to figure it out all by themselves. And hell, half of us as adults can barely figure it out. So what do you expect from your children? And then you leave them there to figure it out? And then they're surrounded and introduced to the internet. Then they're introduced to all these other ideologies. Then they're introduced to a world that tells them you can identify as whatever you want to identify as. Nobody is stopping to think, if I introduce these hormones to a woman's body and they're made for men, how is that going to affect her system in the long run? If I introduce this to his body and it's for a female, how will that affect his system in the long run? How is it going to affect them mentally? How is it going to affect them chemically? Is it going to make them prone to rage, to anger? Is it going to cause a hormonal imbalance to the point where they're acting irrationally and maybe they can't even control it because you're introducing something to their body and trying to get their body to perform in a way it was never meant to perform? No tea, no shade, just facts. I want you guys to take a look at the body cam footage from the actual takedown when the police entered into the building.
So just got an update. It's going to be first floor, main lobby of what? I'm making entry on the front side. I got a civilian that's putting you in here.
Okay.
Okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Into my window, someone, they were upstairs.
Hey.
Why is she still that close to the building? I'm confused. I'm in complete confusion as to why you're still that close to the building and there's an active shooter on the inside. Lady, you should have been giving them instructions from the other side of the parking lot. See, these people don't know how to tell when they in danger. You know how your mama used to say people ain't got sense enough to come in out the rain without being told? Clearly, because why are you in front of the building and there's an active shooter inside the building? You don't know where they are, what floor, whether they're near the window you standing at, can point the gun out and shoot you. You don't know if they coming back out the building and they by the door and you just standing there all willy-nilly. Just no sense of danger whatsoever. That's how we don't notice the sign. That's how you know people not paying attention to signs. You ain't even paying attention to the fact that your life is in danger, Molly. You're in danger.
Give me 3. Let's get 3.
All the way down this hall, they said it's fellowship hall. The end of this hall is fellowship hall. They just said they heard gunshots down there, and then upstairs are a bunch of kids.
Let's go. I need 3. One more. Let's go. Metro Police. Open door. On me. We don't know where he is. Metro Police, open door. Bathroom, small bathroom. Clear. Next, let's go. Door, with me. Hold the door. Next. Yes. Open it, I got it. Bathroom. Let's go.
Police don't get paid enough for me, cause ain't no way you gotta run in. You don't know how many victims in here. You just don't know nothing. You just running in, gun up, hope they don't go for a headshot. They don't get paid enough for me.
Take this with me. Take this. No, that's locked. Take this door. Take this door. Take it. I think it's upstairs. It sounds like it's upstairs. Go. Push the LPV up. Reloading. Move. Watch out. Stop moving! Get your hands away from the gun! Watch left, Get your hands away from the gun! Secondaries provide security! Hey, hold the air. Go. They go second floor.
So now they're showing it from another body cam.
No, locked door. Where did they go in? First floor. Hold there, y'all. Somebody hold there. Hit that door. Rifle first. Blue, go. Go. Move. I'm with you. Go left. Straight. Right here. It's locked. Go. Hit that stair. Hit the stairs. Go. Those stairs. Go. Go. I got it. Go. One down. Keep pushing. Go. Shots fired. Move. Right. Push with LPV up. Go right. Move. Watch out. Move. Stop moving. Watch left. Suspect down. Hey, hold the air.
So as y'all see, they came in hot. They came in real hot to neutralize the threat. Again, I say, women do not thrive in mass numbers out in public, nor do they do it in the open where they can be seen. Women would try to do it incognito, where no one would know it was them, but it would have mass effect. Get it? So when they were saying she and a woman, I'm looking like, wait, ain't no way. That's not even the behavior of a female who's deciding to turn serial. Now I want you guys to check out the news report of the original news report from when this story first broke. Check this out.
Now we're going to head over to News 2's Chris O'Brien. He has some updates for us.
Haley, Bob, we have a little bit of breaking news here. Two pieces of information. First, we're going to show you the picture of the suspect, Audrey Hale, and this is courtesy of ABC News. They just sent us this. This is the photo of the confirmed suspect. We investigators searched the home. 28-year-old Audrey Hale found a manifesto going over today's date marked down, no criminal history. MNPD believes they got through the school by shooting through a door, and they do believe they were a former student at the Covenant School. Now, the other piece of information that we just received from ABC News is actually a direct quote from the suspect's mother, and that mother's name is Norma Hale, and I'm going to read it off my phone here just to make sure I get it exactly right. Briefly talked on the phone with ABC News and said, it is very, very difficult right now. They asked for privacy and then hung up the phone. Said, I really can't talk to you right now. I think I lost my daughter today. I can't talk to you. That's a little bit about what we know. That is the latest that we know. We will bring you as much as we know as the night continues to progress. But for now, Haley, Bob, I'll send it back to you guys.
5 o'clock, if you're expecting News 2 at 5, we are continuing coverage of this tragedy that began at 10:13 this morning. Here's a recap. Deadly shooting in Green Hills this morning. Covenant Presbyterian School on Burton Hills Boulevard. 7 people we now know were killed in this shooting. 3 of those children, all age 9. 3 adults, 261, 160. And the shooter, 28-year-old Audrey Elizabeth Hale. She was taken down by Metro Police officers. An investigation is ongoing in the Belmont area of her father's home to find out any information that officers can find out about a possible motive, about why she chose to take this action today.
And we're going to head back over to the WKRN.com alert desk. We have information just coming in from Chris O'Brien, who's joining us live.
Hey, Bob, as you just touched on there, Bob, we don't know a ton of details about the shooter, but let me just walk you through a little bit about what we do know. Now, you just said, Bob, 28-year-old Audrey Hale is the suspected shooter. Investigators believe they live at Brightwood Avenue in the Belmont Hillsborough neighborhood. Investigators searched a home there. They found detailed maps drawn of the school, including things like surveillance and entry points. They also found a manifesto they're going over that marks today's date down. Hale does not have any criminal history. MNPD believes that there is no criminal history there and that they got through the school by shooting through a door. Now, Hale was a former student at the Covenant School, rather. They do identify as transgender. They are not sure exactly if or how that ties in. MNPD says they had 2 assault rifles and a handgun. They believe they brought 2 of those 3 legally. Now, there's not a ton of detail as far as motive or what could have prompted this really tragic action, but we will keep you updated as the night progresses.
This is Kenley Hargett. I see him in studio here, and he's got some more information on the headmaster. Is that right, Kenley?
Yes, I did. We actually spoke to a friend of the headmaster who actually had a child in her school for years, graduating in 2020. And she said that she developed a relationship because in those schools, it's such a small school that you get to know the administrators. And we actually have a soundbite from that person who had a student who she taught as well. We're going to play that right now.
Anyone who knew her, I mean, it was so obvious how much she loved her job and loved what she did. And you know, students who graduated would, when they come back, you know, years later, these, you know, they still know those students' names, and they make such an impact on, I mean, she did on so many of the students whose lives she was a part of. That so alumni would come back and want to go say hi to Mrs. Kuntz, you know.
And that's the legacy that Dr. Kuntz left, and you can see those victims' names right there: Evelyn DeCoste, Haley Scruggs, William Kinney, Dr. Catherine Kuntz, Mike Hill, as well as the last victim as well. And it's just a tragic scene as well. That's the legacy that she's leaving on so many that got to know her and will always remember her dedication to children, education, and just the community as a whole. Bob and Haley?
Yeah, well, Bob, Haley, like you guys just said, this has to be every parent's worst nightmare. I'm here outside of Woodmont Baptist Church. That's where hundreds of these students were brought earlier today. This is about 2.5 miles away from the school where this all happened. As you can see behind me, this is actually a good thing to see. You see some of those cars, the majority of them actually now gone, meaning that these families have gotten to go home to be with each other this evening. Now, WeGo buses, I know, were one part of the transportation that got these students here. We were talking to some of those workers earlier who told us about how some of these students were recounting the moment that this happened in the school. One little girl was saying she heard a bang, bang. And also just moments ago, we have new video from inside the reunification center as this tragedy was explained to parents.
Is that we locked down. We thought it was a fire drill, but we locked down. Most of the kids locked down somewhere outside. So every class had a different experience, okay? We are gonna try our very best to try to help you as parents navigate the situation. But also know that every class had a different experience, okay? But at baseline, they know that there was an active shooter on campus. They know that there was a bad person on campus. They know that the good guys came to campus. Y'all should have seen it. The police was unreal.
And we know there will be extensive counseling efforts offered. Community groups have already, including the Red Cross, have already stepped up. We know neighbors just showed up with food. That's only the very, very beginning of what we know the Nashville community will do to help these families of those who lost family members and of those who survived, because that is something that they will also have to work through for many years to come. Now we're going to head back out live to News 2's Stephanie Langston, who has been in the Belmont area. She has been outside that extensive search with law enforcement. She's joining us live now. Steph.
That's right, Haley. We're here at Brightwood Avenue, where the road's been blocked off for several hours now. And in just the last 5 minutes, I would say, about a dozen investigators did make entry into that home here at 3005 Brightwood Avenue. ATF investigators were first, and then Metro Police. And we do know the FBI are also here on the scene. Now, of course, we do know whatever is found inside that home could be key in this case. We know that Chief Drake did mention earlier they did find a manifesto about this date and detailed maps of the school saying this shooting was a targeted attack. Now, it's unclear if that information was found at this home or in her car or on her. But of course, they're going to continue investigating this home and seeing what they can find. We do know also that Metro Police did make contact with her father. It's unclear if he was here at the time when SWAT arrived, but neighbors tell me it appeared no one was home. Multiple SWAT units arrived earlier. It's probably been about 3 hours now since they arrived on the scene, and they tell me they heard about 3 explosives go off, extremely loud explosives that shook many homes, some as far away as about a block from here. Now, police tells the shooter, Audrey Hale, does identify as transgender and was a former student of Covenant School. And I want to mention that this home, again, is just not a mile, it's just a street away from Christ the King, another elementary and middle school that's very close by here. But again, she targeted Covenant School, according to Metro Police. So we have seen officers go inside with what appears to be boxes, and we have seen some wearing gloves on their hands, and we haven't seen anything come out yet. Again, they just entered in about the last 5 minutes or so, but we're going to keep monitoring the situation and keep an eye out and keep you guys updated back there at News 2.
Well, I'll tell you, there's been a little bit of activity. You can't tell right now, but just moments before you came to my live shot, had a bunch of cops come out, a bunch of cops go in, and more telling, and this would go back to what was said at the press conference, OEM just brought in 2 light, portable kits with generators. So that tells me they're going to have plenty of light in case there was evidence to be located or processed in the parking lot. Certainly they have lights inside the building. But earlier today, we also told you how we saw portable generators coming in. So they were already preparing for this. And Don Aaron also told us that it was going to be at least 2 days here. And, with that many shots being fired, 8, 9, 10, as you'll hear in just a second, there's a lot to go through. In fact, let's talk to a lady that lives just down the street, and she heard the whole thing. Check it out.
I have 4 grandkids here, and I can be thankful, but I am so sad for these parents and kids. It's very tragic. I
don't feel like crying at many news stories, but today that was almost an exception, because this was one of the most horrific things we've covered. Never seen so many cops flying. And I'll tell you what you're going to see in that body cam. You're going to see heroism. You're going to see guys going in, not thinking about themselves, going up the stairs and taking care of business. So it's sad that 6 people are dead and 3 little babies, but there's a classroom of kids hugging their moms and dads tonight, probably because these cops were so heroic. That's what I believe out here right now.
Andy, we're 6 hours after this event happened, and with them bringing lights in, it looks like the investigators are going to be on the scene well into the night. Does that give you a hint at the scope and the size of the crime scene?
Yeah, well, I think that's part of it. I think what they're doing, number one, is they just want to be thorough. So maybe some of this started outside, and they want to make sure, some of these, I mean, it's a church and a school. I don't know how good the lighting is there. They're going to make sure the lighting is exactly what it needs to be. And as you know, Bob, like reconstruction, they can do that with accidents. They can do that at crime scenes. They literally can build and plot point. So when you go to court later, or you bring it up in any capacity later on, it's computerized, it's digital, and they literally can take you to a virtual crime scene and show you every aspect of the crime scene. And I'm sure they're doing that right now. That's how the capability they have with their forensics teams. So to do that well, you need lighting. And certainly that's probably what they're doing outside. And then inside, perhaps they need the same amount of lighting. But as you heard from the woman in my soundbite, I'm not sure if they actually played that soundbite, but she said she heard 6, 7, 8 shots initially, and then another chorus, another volley of gunfire. Presumably either the second round from this woman, or perhaps the police were on scene by that time and they were neutralizing the threat. But that tells you that you are dealing with a massive amount of shell casings, and each shell casing has a story. Each bullet has a story. Where did it come from? What was the trajectory? Where did it go? How did it land? And that's what they're going to be looking at now. The forensics. Where did these guns come from? As you heard in the press conference, at least 2 guns possibly legally obtained. I've got sources that tell me they don't really have a criminal history that they know of on this lady, but more will come out. But at this point, you start tracing some of the things that you can tangibly, like weapons. Where did you get them? What kind of bullets? Just the fact that you had a woman do this is unusual. Just the fact you had AR-style weapons in a former student go up and do this. I mean, there's a lot of odd elements about this. This is typically, the young man who went in there who was angry. That's a different scene we got going here. So it's certainly a lot to dissect and to see what's going on. But to answer, and I'm pontificating now because I've been doing this for 6 hours, but the long and short of it, Bob, is I think they're not going to leave any bullet casing or any shred of evidence or shard of glass, because you heard an officer got hurt by their hand, unexamined. They want to see, what it is, what happened. And I guarantee when they release the body cam tonight, it's going to be very difficult to watch, but you're going to definitely see some heroic actions.
And you talk about the shell casings, Andy, quickly. We don't know how many shots were fired, but it was quite a few. And each one of those casings has to be marked and tagged before they do the overview photograph of the crime scene, and that takes time.
Yeah, and you guys have seen, I've done a million stories, and you always see those little yellow things on the ground, and each one has a number. Well, in this case, you may have 30 or 40, as the numerical representation on the little triangle, the yellow thing, by the evidence. And each one of those is evidence that they have to photograph, make sure they get the right lighting, the right shot. I mean, what is the significance? Where was that fired? And this is important, and this is why the TBI is involved here. What shots were fired from her, and what shots were fired from the cops? What shots hit and missed? A lot to put together. It's a horrific crossword puzzle that eventually has to have all of the squares filled in.
Okay, so you guys have listened to and watched the news reports from when this broke. That was a collection of different reports from when it broke. Now I want you to listen to the press conference from when they came out and explained what happened with this case. This is going to be a 2-part because tomorrow I do want to get into the manifestos. I do have access to all the manifestos that were released and all the diaries. And I do want to look at it because, again, we are talking about mission-oriented killers. And we see this a lot today when we deal with these mass shootings, especially school shootings, political shootings, and all of this. They're doing it based on a mission. And considering that this suspect is only 28 years old when this occurred, And the suspect has detailed that these are thoughts that he has been having since a child from things he had been dealing with. I feel it's only befitting that we look through this manifesto and these notes to see where the mind was, what the thought process was behind all of this. And maybe it will cause us to start paying attention, as I keep telling us, to the thought processes of those who are around us. Because your thoughts will reveal to people, if they pay attention, your true intentions. Right? So check out this press conference.
This is our third briefing of the day. At this point, we're going to hear from Mayor John Cooper. Chief Drake is also here, as well as Chief Swan and District Attorney Funk. At this time, Mayor John Cooper.
Well, thank you, Don. Laura and I want to express our grief and our city's grief on this unexpected day, this worst day. But let us love each other and support each other and hug each other and pray for each other and pray for our families. But also let us praise our first responders. 14 minutes, I believe under fire, running to gunfire. And then I want to thank the seamless response for federal and state authorities from our police and fire department. So this morning I was in Boston to see my own son's sporting event, and now I am overwhelmed at the thought of the loss of these families, of the future lost by these children and their families. And the leading cause of kids get death now is guns and gunfire, and that is unacceptable. But I want to thank the fast response of our officers. Guns are quick. They don't give you much time. So even in a remarkably fast response, there was not enough time. And those guns stole precious lives from us today in Nashville. And in this dark hour, let us support each other. Let us go and hug our children.
And I think this is a thought process that we have to stop, because guns don't kill people. People do. So I don't care how much we talk about guns and we put it on the guns. At the end of the day, this is a thought process. This was an individual that created this turmoil, not an item. A gun is no good unless it's in the hands of someone else. A gun not in the hands of someone else is nothing but a weapon that can be used for mass destruction. As long as it's on the table and not in someone's hands, it's not a danger to anyone. So we need to start putting the blame where the blame needs to go, in the individuals with the guns, the individuals who purchased the guns and not the guns itself.
A little bit closer tonight. And thank you all for being here, and I want to ask Chief Drake to come and give us an update.
Thank you, Mayor Cooper. Again, thank you all for being here. Just an update from today's press conference. We've identified the shooter as Audrey Hale, a 28-year-old female that lived in the Nashville area. We have investigations ongoing now at the residence on Brightwood Avenue, and we have made contact with the father that lived at that residence and are putting together more information. We've also determined there were maps drawn of the school in detail of surveillance, entry points, etc. We know and believe that entry was gained through shooting through one of the doors, is how they actually got into the school. I want to take the time to at least say, and I won't say the victims' names, I'll let Don say that, but out of the 6 victims, 3 adults, 3 of those were children. 2 of them were age 9, 1 was 8, about to be 9. All the families have been contacted. The victims' families have been contacted as well. My thoughts and prayers go out to the family. When we send our kids to school or to any place of safety, we expect them to live, learn, have fun, and come back from that day's experience. We don't anticipate things like this. And I want to say thank you to our partners, to Chief Swan, to Glenn Funk, to our mayor for his support, to our federal partners. But also I want to say thank you to our first responders who got there and immediately went in and addressed the threat of someone that had multiple rounds of ammunition, prepared for a confrontation with law enforcement, prepared.
Is it just me, or does it frustrate y'all when they're doing press conferences and they spend like the first 15, 20 minutes of the conference giving thanks? Like, I mean, we do thank all the first responders and the officers for their heroism and all of that. We thank them for all of that. But at the end of the day, we need to hear about the story. We don't want to sit for 10, 15 minutes to hear you give thanks.
Just me, they're not saying.
I'm going to go over the victims' names with you now. The 3 9-year-olds who were killed: Evelyn Dickhouse, William Kenny, Hallie Scruggs. 3 adults: Mike Hill, a custodian, age 61, Cynthia Peak, to my understanding, a substitute teacher, age 61, and Catherine Kuntz, age 60. As Chief Drake said, we have identified the active shooter as Audrey Elizabeth Hale, age 28. We'll take just a few questions if you have any.
Don, do we believe that she was a former student at the school?
Yes, we do. Chief, you want to address that?
Yes, from our investigations tell us that she was a former student at the school. I don't know what grade she's attended or grades, but we do firmly believe she was a student there.
Did she identify as transgender?
She does identify as transgender, yes.
Is there any reason to believe the shooter first went to the church before going to the school?
I can't give you that information. I wasn't sure. We know that the minute the calls came in, we responded to the church, so to the school.
I'm just saying, Progressive, I want to thank the pastor and the first lady and the deacon and the mother who gave me my first cookie and the nurse who gave me my first piece of chewing gum. I want to thank them all. I want to thank the ushers who sat me on my seat. I want to thank the people who sit next to me every Sunday at church. I want to thank the pulpit for just being the pulpit, and to all the ministers and saints and friends. I want to take time to say thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for coming. Thank you for getting me a glass of water when I didn't have it. I just want to take out the time to say thank you to everybody that's a part of the church that has been instrumental in me walking this salvation. We all them things ain't just baby. Why? We trying to hear about these babies that's been unalive. We need to hear about the thought process of the individual that took these babies out, and what y'all found out about why this person targeted these babies. You can create a brunch, a luncheon to say thank you to them personally. I'm sure you got cell phone numbers. Don't take up the press conference and use 20 minutes of the hour that you have. 30 minutes of the 45 you have giving thanks to everybody in the city that you just thanked on last night.
Yeah.
Was there like 2 officers that went in when they first got there? Do you know how many there was?
So it was 5 officers that immediately went in and addressed. We have video that we're going to release, but you can see in the video, you can hear gunfire going on as they're in the school. They address the threat and take that threat down.
What do we know about her weapon?
So we know there were 2 AR-style weapons, one a rifle, another was an AR-style pistol, and the other was a handgun. We believe 2 of those may have been obtained legally, locally here.
Can you confirm
Was what? There was some, I don't know her exact capacity within the school, but it was higher up in the echelon.
And were any of the children victims related to any of the school staff?
Unsure. I believe one may have been, but I can't confirm that.
Did the shooter have any criminal history?
No history at all.
And no motive at this point? Anything discovered in the apartment or house?
No, we have a manifesto. We have some writings that we're going over that pertain to this day, the actual incident. We have a map drawn out of how this was all going to take place. There's right now a theory of that we may be able to talk about later, but it's not confirmed, and so we'll put that out as soon as we can.
Chief, is there any reason to believe that how she identifies?
I'm sorry, I knocked someone's mic over. I didn't hear you say that again, sir.
Is there any reason to believe that how she identifies has any motive for targeting the school?
We can give you that at a later time. There is some theory to that. We're investigating all the leads, and once we know exactly, we'll let you know.
So was this a targeted attack?
It was.
Do we know about a history of transgender man or woman?
Don't know any history of mental illness at this time, but we are looking at that as the investigation is ongoing, and I'm sorry.
She identifies as a transgender man or woman?
It's a woman.
Was it the only school that was targeted?
It was the only school that was targeted. There was another location that was mentioned, but because of a threat assessment by the suspect and too much security, they decided not to. And that area was here in Nashville, so we're continuing with that investigation as well. Right now, we believe it's a lone assailant, and we don't anticipate any further damage at this time, but we're still investigating.
The Brightwood address, did she live there with her parents? Or?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
So the scene is going to be processed throughout the night, probably into tomorrow. This is an extensive scene. As you know, she entered the building, which is one structure. The church and the school are in one building. She entered on the lower floor. There were shots fired on the lower floor before she went to the upper level. And it was on the upper level where she was confronted by police and killed. So understand the scene processing will take place over at least 2 days, today and tomorrow. And we'll have more details for you, including the release of video, perhaps tonight, but if not tonight, certainly tomorrow.
So there you have seen the press conference that took place after this mass attack happened with these babies at the school. Like I said, this is going to be a two-part, because if I go into the second part, I don't want to stop it. And that's going to be quite lengthy, because the manifesto that was left by Audrey Hale, kind of detailing the plans and the why. See, bigger than just knowing what was done is the why, understanding the why. And the manifesto and the diary pages that were released kind of give us the why. And for me, it should spark a greater conversation. A greater conversation. What she did to these children, absolutely horrific, terrible, needed to be punished for it. Not gonna take that away. But remember, we discussed mission-oriented killers. They do this because they're on a mission. Paying attention to the mission is what's really important, especially when it's not an outlandish one. You have those individuals who do dumb stuff, and then when you hear the reasoning, you like, because you thought aliens was coming. Because you thought the world was going to combust and blow up. Because you thought the end of the world was here, so you was going to get a jump start on it. No, we're not talking about those. We're talking about conversations that make you sit back and say, wow, maybe there's something to what was said in those manifestos that we should pay attention to. Maybe this thought process could be echoed by a lot of other people. And if one person thought this, maybe there's somebody else that's thinking and planning as well. So we need to dive into the mindset of why this was done to understand why this was done. Get it? So please do me a favor. Excuse me. Set your notification bells so that you can join me on tomorrow night for part 2. as we get into the story with Audrey Elizabeth Hale, as we get into these manifestos and understand the thought process behind this and the why of why this was done, why the school was targeted. And a lot of times in these situations, the execution is horrible. But I had the hiccups. The thought process behind it, you're like, okay, I kind of understand where they was going. I understand the frustration, but the execution was trash. You didn't have nobody to talk to before you decided to execute this in this way. You couldn't have thought of any other way to do this, to get a point across, outside of laying down a bunch of children and elderly. There was no other way for you to get your point across than this. Generally, the execution of it is always screwed up. But we're going to go through the manifestos and the diaries on tomorrow so that we can see the mindset behind it. Because we need to have a conversation. And I'm thinking about doing it on StreamYard and doing it as a panel because I want to have a discussion and see what you guys think. You know, let's put on our golden chapeaus and have a real conversation about not just Audrey Hale, but the mindset of individuals that think like this. Because we're starting to see this mindset acted out more and more, where people get an ideology, they get a quote unquote mission and feel like they have to act it out by any means necessary. And anything in the way is collateral damage. All for the sake of what? Creating a martyr, just going down in history at the cost of someone else's life. But we're going to discuss it. Drop in the comments and let me know what you think about this story so far. What you think about our correlation with Criminal Minds. We're going to dive more into that also on tomorrow. I wish I could show you guys some clips, but you know the way YouTube's set up. I ain't going to be able to show you the clip that I want to show you of Criminal Minds episodes so that you can understand where I'm coming from. But that's why I created the thumbnails so that you would be able to see. But we're going to get back into it on tomorrow because we need to have some real candid conversations really about the state of where we are as a nation, as a country, even as a world, where people feel like something needs to be done to the extreme to get the attention to say, hey, maybe we need to stop. That's the conversation I want to have. So make sure you have your golden chapeaus. Make sure you have your glass of bubbly and get ready to pull up with me on tomorrow night for part 2. Thank you for joining me today. Please hit that like and subscribe button. Hype up the video. Consider becoming one of us. Consider joining the Champagne Gang and the Fierce Fam. Become a confidant. We friendly over here and we're family. Until next time, confidants. Babies, always remember, if it doesn't cause you to elevate, baby, it's causing you to depreciate. Now raise those glasses, clink, and let's drink. Till we meet again. Ta-ta.
We overflow, 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 yeah. Overflow, 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 yeah. Bubble bunny time when the clock drop low. Body to the rhythm, make the bad things go. Sip liquid joy, let the bad mind know. We rise up slow, but we still explode. Boom! Champagne, New Year, pour that hope up. Bubbles in my blood when we toast up. New me, same roots, watch me glow up. Whole room screaming when we go up. Champagne, New Year, let it rain like. Drip from the ceiling to the daylight. Say my name, say it, make it feel right. This our time, this our highlight. Ice in my palm like a trophy. Gold on my wrist, that's the old me. New year, new flight, same nosebleed. Still from the mud, but I rose clean. Big body dreams in a compact lot. Turn side hustles to a stock by box. Mama in the front row, tears on lock. Prayed all decade for this one pop. On a quiet storm in a silk suit, baby. Pressure in my chest, turn the dark salt wavy. Time tick tick, but I move like maybe. I've been the clock hands when the beat gone crazy. Champagne, New Year, pour that hope up. Bubbles in my blood when we toast up. New me, same roots, watch me glow up. Whole room screaming when we go up. Champagne, New Year, let it rain like. Drip from the ceiling to the daylight. Say my name, say it, make it feel right. This our time, this our highlight.
I'm the midnight sun in a blackout. Lit the whole block when I cashed out. Turn pain to confetti when I step out. Every scar on my skin is a map route. Shorty on my side like a seatbelt hold. Voice like smoke and her heartbeat go. She went slow motion, whole world on pause. Got curves like questions, I get lost in the cause, yeah. She whisper, baby, don't rush this climb. We gon' stack calendars, not just one time. Love like credit, we could never decline. Seal it with a sip and a baseline grind,
Yeah, yeah. You know I ride when the clock can spin. I'll be your calm when the chaos set in. One more year, one more sin, and we wash it all off when the countdown begins. Champagne, New Year, pour that hope up. Bubbles in my blood when we toast up. New me, same roots, watch me glow up. Whole room screaming when we go up. Champagne, New Year, let it rain like. Drip from the ceiling to the daylight. Say my name, say it, make it feel right. This our time, this our highlight. 10-9-8, let the old paint fade. 7-6-5, watch the doubt get caged. 4-3-2, we beyond that stage. 1, we overflow.